My dream dessert is becoming a nightmare. That's what's happening. Hi, my name is Angel and I like to bake. Today I wanted to make a dream dessert of mine, and that is Brookie cheesecake. Dream because one, it's the dessert of my dreams. It will have all of the flavors that I love, but also dream in the sense where I don't really know if it exists yet, or at least it's not readily available for me to get. So I kind of have to make it myself in order for it to come to life. So I have to make my own dreams come true. If you spend any time on food Instagram, or a lot of time like me, then you'll know that a brookie is layers of brownie and cookie, and a cheesecake obviously is cheesecake. And so this dessert will be layers of brownie, cookie, cheesecake, other flavors, other textures, just a whole plethora of wonderful things, hopefully together. Some big names in the game of brookies and brownies right now are Buckeye brownies and Killer brownies, and they're huge on Instagram. They make the most delicious looking brookies and brownies ever, and they're based in the United States, so I could get them shipped to me if I really wanted to, but also I don't want to wait, so I'd rather just make it myself. So today I'm going to be making 3 different kinds, and I like to plan, so I did make pictures and plan for this earlier, so I'll just put it up. The 3 different kinds I'm going to be making are a peanut butter cup one. So this one is going to have a layer of brownie with chocolate and peanut butter chips. And then on top of that are going to be Reese cups. And then above that is a layer of peanut butter swirl cheesecake. On top of that is going to be a layer of cookie dough. And on top, there's going to be crumbles and embellishments of peanut butter chips, Reese peanut butter cups, Reese's Pieces, and also a little peanut butter drizzle, maybe a chocolate ganache drizzle, we'll see. I think that's gonna be so good. The next one is going to be a Nutella s'mores kind of remix one with a layer of brownie with white chocolate chips and chopped pecans for that texture. On top of that, we're going to have a layer of graham crackers, again, for that good texture. On top, we're gonna have a layer of Nutella swirl cheesecake. My mouth is salivating just talking about this. And on top, we're gonna do a layer of cookie dough and just throw it all on top. We're gonna put some graham cracker pieces, toasted mini marshmallow, and also Nutella drizzle for that ultimate Nutella s'mores flavor. And then the last one is going to be more like a cookie cheesecake, not so much a brookie. I didn't want them all to be chocolatey. I wanted one that wasn't super chocolatey. So this one's going to be a Snickerdoodle Dulce De Leche white chocolate cheesecake. Yeah, so the bottom flavor is going to be a Snickerdoodle white chocolate cookie dough. On top of that, we're gonna have a layer of cinnamon roll Oreos. On top of that, it's gonna be a layer of Dulce De Leche cheesecake. And sprinkled on top is going to be more chopped up Oreos, white chocolate chips, cinnamon sugar sprinkled, and also a Dulce De Leche drizzle. So if that sounds like a lot, that's because it probably is, but I figured if I'm gonna make one, I might as well make all of them. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do today, and let's do it. First things first, we're going to brown our butter to make some brown butter. We're going to melt 227 grams or 1 cup of unsalted butter in this pan. So if you've never browned butter before, don't be scared. It's pretty easy to do. The benefit of having brown butter and why everyone loves it so much is because it adds this really nice depth of flavor. It adds almost like a deep caramelized, really delicious layer of flavor that really just emphasizes the use of butter here. So after a while, you'll see that that white layer of milk solids is pretty much almost gone now. There's still a few over here, But what we're really waiting for, the indicator is visually, you'll see that all of it becomes pretty clear. This is actually the process to make ghee, which is clarified butter. So obviously, you know, visually you can see that it would be a lot clearer. You can see like to the bottom of the pan, whereas right now, not really, it's still kind of milky. But another indicator, and I think probably why they call it brown butter, is that these milk solids, they don't all completely go away. Some of them do stay, and in fact, they cook and they become brown. So that's another good indicator visually to see that the brown butter is done when it has some brown bits at the bottom of it, which is all flavor. And then the other good indicator that I go by as well is that your house, it smells like caramel, even though it's not really like the sugar caramel smell. It does just smell like caramel, which is pretty amazing. And obviously the reason why we do this, to add that like caramelly flavor to whatever it is that we're making. We're almost there. So you can see that it's a lot clearer. And there are those scant milk solids now at the bottom that are still a little bit white, but now we're just gonna wait for them to brown. So I'm getting the smell now, the caramelly smell, so I know that we're really super close now. You can see that the color has changed now to an amber. Yeah, and then you can see these solids here are now pretty brown. Okay, I think we're done. So immediately I'm gonna turn off the heat. And I'm going to pour this all into a glass container. You can see those brown solids. That's the flavor right there. So now that the butter is browned and in its own separate container, I'm just putting it on the side over here to cool. And while we're waiting for it to cool, we're gonna get started on our brownie layer. Now, I got these containers here from my grocery store. Typically, when you make brownies, you would use like an 8x8 square pan. I didn't want to make a huge brownie for each of these flavors, so I went with loaf pans instead. If you have loaf pans, awesome. I needed 3 and I don't have 3, so this seemed like a good option to use instead. So I'm gonna prep all these pans so that they're ready for our brownies and our cookie base. And I think what I'm also going to do is I'm gonna put a layer of parchment paper around it so that I can just lift up the whole entire thing as well. So I'm gonna do that. Great, so all of our pans are ready. The first layer in all of our brookies is a brownie layer. And I know what you're thinking, Angel, what is this? This is Ghirardelli brownie mix. Now, it's not cheating. It's not cheating. Here's the thing, when you make brownies, you typically melt solid chocolate or you add cocoa powder to make your batter. Now, I really like Ghirardelli chocolate. I don't know about you, but I've been to San Francisco, I've had their chocolate, it's really good. And I think, you know, the quality of chocolate is really what shines through in any recipe, especially brownies, where it's like the main flavor of it. And so I could have gone and bought some Ghirardelli chocolate, or I could use what I already have, which is a very good quality brownie mix that uses Ghirardelli chocolate chips and Ghirardelli cocoa powder, which I can't get. So I just think it's a good compromise, especially because there's so many other components here in this entire recipe. I thought it was just like a good quality option for me. Also, if you think I'm lazy, I just brown butter, like, what? Just wait till the rest of the recipe, okay? If you want to start calling me lazy. Anyway, let's make this brownie. So I've already preheated the oven to 325 degrees as the box says. I'm only going to be using one mix here, which is enough for an 8x8 pan, which to me is the same as, you know, like a 2x 2x8 loaf pan, so that's awesome. So we are at least trying to elevate our brownies at least a little bit. So in the recipe, it does call for 1 egg. Instead of a 1/3 cup of water, I'm doing a 1/3 cup of milk, and I've put 2 teaspoons of instant coffee in here to add a little depth of flavor, so that's going in as well. And lastly, instead of just a 1/3 cup of oil, I'm doing a 1/3 cup of melted butter. Bonus points if it explodes in your microwave. And we're just gonna mix everything together here. Okay, all mixed.
Having to come in on voiceover now because my neighbor dogs were being too loud and I didn't want to stop recording. So I split the batter up in 2. In these ramekins, I have 1/2 cup each. This one is chopped pecan. Kind of eyeballing it just to see I don't add too much. Ended up using all 1/2 cup. For the peanut butter chips though, I did not because that guy was pretty dense. Give that a little mixy mix to get everything nice and incorporated for both the batters. And then into the pans they go. Ooh. Make sure everything's nice and even so that it bakes evenly. Give it a tappy tap, get rid of those air bubbles. We don't want those. Tappy tap. And then they go in the oven for at least 25 minutes.
So while our brownies are baking in the oven, we're gonna get started on our brown butter cookie dough. And that starts off with the brown butter that we just made and allowed to cool. So all of that goes into a bowl. And to that, we're going to add our 2 sugars, which is brown sugar, which is about 1 cup or 200 grams here. And then also, I think 2/3 cup of sugar, which is 135 grams. Kind of cream that all together. Nice and homogeneous. And then to this, we're going to add our 1.5 teaspoon vanilla. And then our 2 eggs. Just breaking up the yolk here just so it mixes better. Okay. Cool. Okay, so you see that that's all mixed in, lightened up, awesome. And over here I have my flour, which is 2 3/4 cups, 350 grams of flour. And in here I have 1 teaspoon cornstarch, 1 teaspoon baking soda, 1 teaspoon baking powder, and 3/4 teaspoon of salt. So just gonna sprinkle that all over. In there. And we're gonna just put this in 2 or 3 additions here. Oops. Last addition. I have regrets about this bowl, but that's okay. Just have to be careful. What's good about this is that the butter was pretty melted. It wasn't hard butter or softened butter, so everything mixes in pretty well here. So now I'm gonna separate these into 2 batches, 2/3 with chocolate chips and the other 1/3 as our Snickerdoodle white chocolate chip base. So I'm gonna try to put this in 2/3 here. Okay, so this one will be our chocolate chip, which is for our brownies. For that, I'm going to be adding a 1/3 cup of chocolate chips. Oops. These are just milk chocolate chips. You can use semi-sweet. You can mix up a few different kinds. All right, so that's our chocolate chip dough. And then to this one, the cinnamon one, I'm going to be adding a little bit of cinnamon. Just gonna eyeball it. But I do like a lot of cinnamon, so I'm just gonna, yeah, that's good. I'm gonna add more actually. I really like cinnamon. Okay, and then I'm gonna add also a 1/3 cup of mini white chocolate chips. Oops. This smells so good. The brown butter already has that caramel flavor, like I said, but mixed in with the brown sugar and now with the cinnamon, this smells amazing. Now I'm going to fill my Snickerdoodle cheesecake pan with this cookie dough. Part of me is thinking that these pans are not big enough, but we'll see. All right, so I'm just gonna flatten this. So the brownies just came out of the oven, and then I preheated the oven again to 375 for the Snickerdoodle cookie. So that's in now, and I'm putting it in there for 15-20 minutes. We'll see. These ones just came out and they look really good and they smell really good. For now, we're just gonna put them aside to cool and then start working on the cheesecake layer. Okay, so our brownies are cooling here on the countertop. Our Snickerdoodle cookie base is now baking in the oven. So now we're gonna work on our cheesecake layer. So many things going on. In this bowl, I already have my 2 packages of cream cheese. I softened them so they're at room temperature. Oh, I'm actually gonna use a mixer now because this is more heavy duty stuff. But to this, I'm going to add 1 3/4 cup of plain Greek yogurt. So I made a mistake. I was supposed to cream up the cream cheese by itself until they were smooth. But I already put in the Greek yogurt, so I'm just gonna cream it together like this. Kind of looks like cottage cheese. It's getting there, it's getting pretty smooth. There's a few more lumps, so I just want to get rid of those. Okay, that looks pretty good, pretty nice and smooth. Yeah, look at that. All right, and so now that that's smooth, now I was supposed to add the Greek yogurt, but I already did that, so we're just gonna put the teaspoon of vanilla and then 2/3 cup of granulated white sugar. I just lost the footage of me finishing up adding the sugar in there. I was saying that if you have a bigger bowl, you don't need to put it in smaller increments like me. You could just dump it all in. It's not very sensitive to that. Yeah, all of it is now fully incorporated and it's now nice and smooth. The cookie base just came out of the oven, so I did have to go take that out. The recipe is for, I think, a 9-inch cake. And if you want to add flavors like lemon or almond, whatever it is, you would add that now at this point. But because I'm splitting this up into a couple different flavors, then I'm not doing that right now. Now I am going to be adding the eggs in one at a time. The recipe says to allow your eggs to get to room temperature, but I literally just pulled these out and they've just been sitting here, so hopefully that doesn't make a difference. So let's do our eggs one at a time. Awesome, now it's nice and well mixed. Oh, something I see a lot of people on YouTube do a lot is that they pull their hand mixer out while it's still on. Turn it off while it's still in the batter, otherwise it'll splat everywhere and that's not fun. So turn it off while it's in the batter and then take it out, do a little shake, and you're good. So I'm just scraping down the sides of the bowl here just to get any excess stuff that I didn't mix in before, and then mixing it all again. Nice. So our white chocolate Snickerdoodle cookie has just come out of the oven. No, it came out like 5 minutes ago and I let it rest for a little bit while I was making the cheesecake. But you can see it's puffed up quite a bit. But it smells really good and it's really nice so far, but I am kind of regretting this pan size right now. But what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just press this down so that I can still add some layers to it. Thankfully, this one's only the cheesecake layer, so if I can get like a 50-50 ratio, I'll be pretty happy with that. I'm gonna let it cool a little bit more, and then because I have to prep the cheesecakes for the other flavors, I'm gonna do that now. Okay, so I lied. While this is still warm and like malleable, I'm going to start pressing it down now, just because I don't want the top to harden in this shape. So I'm just gonna go in here and try my best to not, I already cracked it, okay. Okay, here's the thing. No one's gonna see this, so it doesn't matter. As long as the side is good and I can fit my stuff in there, it's fine. This is just me talking to myself. Okay, this might be a little too thick. I'm squishing it down and it might be a little bit too much on the side here, so I think I am going to just shave it down and cut it. I think that's the best thing, because this is about this level is about what I want here. So yeah, I'm gonna shave it. Guess who forgot to record? This guy. So what you missed was me taking a knife and like scraping the sides, the puffed up sides of this cookie, and like motivating myself the whole time, telling myself it was okay, that it's just like a cake, it's just like leveling a cake, totally normal, also free snack. Yeah, so I kind of just went around with a knife and cut out the edges here so that it's all that same level. I like it now, it's a lot better, and I also flattened this too. I also went and flattened the brownies as well. They didn't need much, but they did kind of compress into itself and lift off the edges as they do when they cool. But I kind of just pressed them down a little bit more just to give them some more space at the bottom there. That's what these look like. So you can see I kind of flattened them down. So hopefully I'm recording now, and hopefully I will properly record the next part, which is flavoring the 3 different types of cheesecake that are going to go on these bad boys. So let's do that now. Now we're gonna flavor our cheesecakes. I realize this is a lot of cheesecake filling, so we're not gonna make the same mistake that we did earlier and use the whole batch. I'm going to separate this out so that not only can I flavor them individually, but I only use what I think I'll need. So based off of how those guys are doing, I think I'm just gonna do maybe a cup of cheesecake per pan, and we'll go from there. If I need more, I'll add more, but I think that's a good start. Look at how silky, wow. So I'm gonna start with 1 cup for each flavor, like I said. Okay, and then the last cup will just go in here because I don't want to have to do all the dishes. That probably made about like 4.5 cups of batter. So anyway, the 3 flavors that we're going to be doing are peanut butter, Dulce De Leche, and Nutella. So I think the smallest one is going to be the Nutella. They're all 1 cup, so that doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna start here with the peanut butter. I only have maybe a tablespoon and a half here. I kind of want it to be more of a swirl, not so much a homogeneous mixture, just because I want like the hint of peanut butter, considering that there's gonna be so many more peanut buttery components. I don't want this to just be boring and be homogeneously peanut butter. So do you see how that's kind of got like little chunks and a bit of a swirl in there? That's exactly what I want, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. So the next one is going to be the Dulce De Leche. It's a really good complementary flavor to cinnamon, so this one maybe I won't do as much of a swirl for. I also put all of these in the microwave a little bit just to loosen them up. I guess I'm putting, I don't know, I'm eyeballing everything. 3 of these spoons, which is a little more than a teaspoon, so I'm doing that, and I'm just mixing it in. Look at, wow, that looks so good. I could just eat that now, but I won't, but I want to. So kind of good marbliness. I think I'll leave it at that, especially because I'm going to be pouring it in as well, and that'll mix it up a little bit more too. Last but not least, my babe, this Nutella is brand new, as you can tell, because we can't have any in the house, because I'm just gonna eat it all. A heaping spoon, this is probably a tablespoon, and I'm gonna do a not so heaping spoon, and that'll be it. And then we'll swirl her up as well, try to get that marble. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that looks so good. Okay, wow. All right, so these are our cheesecakes ready to be layered. Look at that. Okay guys, so for this next part, I had to really get a close up because we're gonna do some intense layering, and so you really needed to be able to see this up close, in my opinion. I did it again. I forgot to hit record. That was the best, most satisfying footage I could have given the internet, and I messed it up. Oh my goodness. So I was so concentrated on getting these in-between layers right that I just like didn't even think about the camera or if it was even working. So okay, so let me just recap here what happened. So the peanut butter one, this one, I did a really beautiful Reese peanut butter cup layer underneath here. So because I really tried so hard on this, and I think it was really nice, and you will never see it. I'm just gonna demonstrate for you what those layers look like. So I had these peanut butter cups, these thins, and they were like layered like that, right? right? It was layered like this. And because there were gaps in between, I just cut the peanut butter cup and I went like that, and then I went like that. And then you can see that there's like a whole layer of them right underneath the cheesecake. So that's what I did for this peanut butter one. However, for the Snickerdoodle and the Nutella s'mores one, I did a layer of graham crackers instead. And what I found through trial and error, I can actually fit 3 in a row this way, along this way. And so there's 3 layers of that. So use your imagination here. I apologize, but I did not record. And so, yeah, so there's missing footage of me putting layers like that on this one, and also putting layers of peanut butter cups in this one. So believe me when I say that there are layers underneath. I just poured on the cheesecake afterwards. So yeah, it was super satisfying, and I didn't even talk through it, so you could have just watched it. Yeah, well, the oven now is preheated, and so these are ready to go and bake.
So these guys went into a 350-degree oven for probably about an hour total until a toothpick came out clean. I forgot to mention that I did add a container of water, and that's just for it to create steam so we can prevent cracks on our cheesecake.
So what's even more of a fail is that I totally forgot that I bought these cinnamon bun Oreos to put as the middle layer instead of graham crackers. I'm so not prepared for this. I have never done this before, clearly. So because I really want these Oreos to be in here, and because, hey, a little extra crunch never hurt nobody, I think the same thing that I did with the I want to layer it on like exactly this. Should I do this? Am I crazy? Well, yeah, but also I might as well. I'm already doing it. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna go hard. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take these Oreos. I'm gonna layer it exactly like the way I did the Reese cups here, and go like that, boop, and a little boop. Could I fit 2? I could have definitely fit 2. My dream dessert is becoming a nightmare. That's what's happening. Even if it's a middle layer, that's good too. Okay. All right. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Gosh. Oh my gosh. You know, there's a lot of like surface tension that I'm fighting against here. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? I've gone too far. I need to finish. Oh my god. Okay, it's working so far. Okay, it's getting down there. And then if I just cover it up, No one will ever know.
Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know.
They're gonna know.
How would they know? How would they know? How would they know?
I mean, how would they know? Good as new. Okay, let's put her back in the oven with her brothers. Let's go. I'm sorry, baby.
The cheesecakes baked in the oven until I did a toothpick test and they all came out nice and clean. That means it's no longer liquid and it's fully baked. So I did that a couple times and then added 5 or 10 minutes depending, but here they are all done.
So the brownie cheesecakes are now out of the oven. They've been cooling for maybe 15 minutes now. These two need to cool completely because I'm going to be putting a cookie layer on top, which then needs to bake again. So it needs to be fully cooled. However, this one is about ready to be topped off with all the goodies. So we're gonna do that right now. So to finish off our Snickerdoodle cheesecake, I brought a few different things to cover it. We have some cinnamon sugar here, which is just 1 part cinnamon to 2 or 3 parts sugar. And then here I have some chopped up white chocolate. I chopped up some more of the cinnamon roll Oreos in quarters. And this is the excess cookie part that I shaved off there just to get everything level. So it makes for a good snack and also a good topper. And Dulce De Leche that I put in the microwave for 15 seconds just to get it a little bit more viscous. Okay, so the layer on top here is still a little bit sticky, so it's a good time so it's a good time now to put some cinnamon sugar on it so that it sticks on. And I'll just sprinkle that on. Just like that. All right, I can really do anything at this point. So I'm just gonna try to make it aesthetic. So if you wanna come in a little closer, you can. There's no rules. I'm just gonna start placing more. I guess the goal here is just to have a little bit in every bite. Just have every bite be a perfect bite, if it can be. So yeah, just putting that like everywhere basically, and then maybe some of these bits. These are nice and like crispy now, so hopefully it can be like the opposite of what it is underneath, which it would be a little chewier, a little softer, something doughier. Okay, does that look like a lot? No such thing as a lot, right? Yeah, we want that crunch, right? It's a good flavor and texture difference from the cheesecakiness. Okay, and then some white chocolate chunks. This is just white chocolate that I chopped. Oh yeah. There, cool. And then I'm gonna drizzle on some of this Dulce De Leche. Yeah. Yeah, if you want it to be really, really schmelty and viscous, throw it in the microwave, heat it up a little bit. It's very viscous, very liquidy. Okay, last a little bit. Nice. And then I think I'm just gonna do a little more cinnamon sugar. Awesome. I think that looks pretty good. Now everything has to cool. So after this gets to room temperature, I'm gonna put it in the fridge and probably leave it at least overnight. The cheesecake recipe does call for it to cool in the fridge overnight to get to a good structure. So I'm gonna do that and then we'll cut into it. Yeah. So the brownie cheesecakes have been cooling now and they're pretty much totally cool from the fridge. And in order to make them brookie cheesecakes, we now have to add the layer of cookies because we have our brownie, we have our cheesecake, and now we're gonna put our cookie layer. We have the brown butter cookie dough that we made before, the chocolate chip version, and I'm kind of just fluffing it up right now just to separate it so I can put it on here better. Just gonna scoop this in little chunks first and then spread it around before I compress it. Does that make sense? Just making sure that the crumbles are even first and then I'm going to press them down. It smells so good. You can smell the brown butter goodness mixed with the brown sugar. I'm trying to keep it limited to the level of the pan here because I think anything higher than that will be a little bit too intense. But again, I'm gonna compress this once I get it to be pretty even. Okay, the cheesecake is cool, so I am gonna pull this to separate it from the edges of the cheesecake too. Yeah, and that works well because now I can push it to be at the edge of the whole pan, not just where the cheesecake has set and separated itself. Yeah, that looks good. So that's one layer right there. The next one, this is heavy. This is a hefty boy. These are two hefty boys. So same thing here, the same layers. This one's a little bit taller, but that's okay. So again, just pressing this into the side here. I want it to be the same layer thickness as this one because I want them to cook at the same time. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to then just put this into the preheated oven at 375 and I'm gonna start it at 15 minutes and then just go from there. So the cookie layer is now baked. Look how nice and brown this crust is. Now I'm going to start putting the toppings on. So this is the Nutella one, and for this one I kind of want it to be a s'mores-ish topping. So I am gonna put these marshmallows on and then I'm going to broil the oven. I don't have a fancy kitchen torch or anything like that. So this is the method I'm gonna go with, where I'm just gonna put a few marshmallows on here. And it'll have that s'moresy torched look to it. Here you have it, the beautiful broiled torchiness on the marshmallows that we want. So obviously we only want it for flavor. It wasn't there for long at all. It was only there for like a minute or two and I watched it the whole time. You don't want this to burn. That'll be really sad if you let it burn. I'm just making everything up as I go. And up next, I think I want to put some Nutella drizzle. And it's pretty messy, but this I'm putting on almost to use as adhesion for the rest of the stuff that I'm gonna put on as well. So we have Nutella drizzle, we have marshmallows. Now I'm gonna put on some graham crackers. After that, let's throw on, maybe you can use a little bit more. I want these to be ridiculous. I'm gonna throw on some pecan pieces here. Just some toasted and chopped pecans. I think that's good. It's quite a bit there. And lastly, some mint chocolate chips. Milk chocolate chips. I keep saying mint. Why? I have also some chocolate ganache that I think would really drizzle well over this. So I'm gonna do that. Okay, I think that looks pretty insane, and I think that's the look I'm going for. I think this guy's done. Now for a peanut butter one, I kind of mixed everything all up in here. We have peanut butter chips, we have Reese's Pieces, and we have some chopped up peanut butter cups. So I'm just gonna put these on here. Sprinkle these on. I have some peanut butter drizzle. It's just creamy peanut butter mixed with some powdered sugar. I'm gonna go in with a little bit of chocolate ganache too, just a little bit, not as much. And just a few more of these to let the colors pop again. I think that looks good. So here we have it, guys. The 3 Dream Brookie cheesecakes, 3 different flavors, all beautiful in their own way. And as much as I would like to cut into them right now, they do need to chill overnight. I think that's kind of a requirement for cheesecakes here. They look great now. I think the peanut buttery one looks like really true Reese's here. This one looks so good. I like how the Dulce De Leche kind of has like a hard shell to it. And this one just looks insane. It's all chocolate all over, which is what dreams are made of. The hardest part is here. It is just letting them chill and cool. So I can't really dig into these right now, but obviously I'm gonna cut into them and show you guys and taste them for quality assurance. Yeah, that'll be sooner for you than it is for me. Until then, these are gonna chill.
If you made it all the way to the end of this video, I want to thank you so much for watching. This obviously ended up being way longer than anticipated, so much so that I'm going to be doing the cutting and taste testing in another video. So I'll see you guys over in part 2. Bye!